Hello and welcome to a snowy FA Cup tie, Wigan Athletic versus AFC Wimbledon. Very exciting game on a couple levels, not least of which is that if we win this game, we might get to buy one of Wigan's players. So, I mean, it's about as high stakes as it gets for both Wimbledon and Wigan, although Wigan don't know it. We get a payday if we advance in the FA Cup. That payday would potentially allow us to sign one of Wigan's star players. They have three really good players in right now playing for their team, and we could use players in all three of those positions. And so I would be delighted if we can somehow find a way to win this game. We might be able to use the $200,000 we get to potentially try to sign one of those players. There's Max Power, who, I mean, aside from his name, like Max Power, the fact that he's named Max Power, he's on the bench today, is amazing. So there's Max Power, and then there's another guy, I think Whitehead, and then there's Will Grigg, who is injured at the moment in this game, but is really good and would be one of our best players if we could sign him. So high stakes. I mean, as high as stakes get in fake games, but it would be very helpful to Mr. Managerinho and the rest of the team to have a little bit more squad depth. As we're already seeing, we have 15-year-old Kaja on the bench today because things are thinning out a little bit, and we've got some injuries to deal with. Everybody knows about Darius Charles's broken butt, but we've also got the broken elbow of John Green, and now a third injury as well, with one of our central defenders out for a while. So things are getting a little tight, and it's still pretty early in the season, so we've got to figure this out. Anyway, today I'm going to be solving Erin's problem. Erin donated the Project for Awesome. She has the same problem that a lot of people have, but we're going to approach it differently today, which is that basically Erin says that being 22 sucks, which it basically does. I don't want to overgeneralize. It doesn't always suck. Some people have the best year of their whole lives at 22, but most don't. The main thing is that I have this vivid memory. I don't know about you guys, and sometimes I think this is because I am a writer, and sometimes I think it's because I have OCD, and sometimes I think it's because everybody has this. But I have this thing that I want to talk about. I get phrases stuck in my head, and I think of them as really I can't get these phrases out of my head, and I think that they would be great first lines to a book, and but they can be really weird. They can be totally, they aren't great first lines to a book, is what I'm trying to say. They're just random ideas that pop into my head that I can't get out for years. So the most recent one, and who knows, maybe this will be the first line of a book someday, or a line in a book or something. But the most recent one is, but of course you bring yourself with you. And so all the time I'm thinking why am I thinking but of course you bring yourself with you? Now, of course, that is the problem with, travel and everything else in life, is that you can try to change your external circumstances, but of course you bring yourself with you. And I didn't invent this idea. It's an extremely cliched, obvious idea. There's nothing profound in it. I just can't shake it as a concept of, but of course you bring yourself with you, but of course you bring yourself with you. And all the time I'll be thinking, is this an opportunity where I could say, but of course you bring yourself with you here in polite conversation? It's super weird. I don't know why it happens. But anyway, point being, when I was 22, Lyle Taylor from Outside the Box, not even close. When I was 22, and even when I was 23 and 24, I remember there were different versions of this, and I would say them as I was walking around Chicago. I had a really tough, especially the first year, really the first 3 years that I was in Chicago, from the age of 20, I guess I was 21 when I moved, or 20, I just turned 22. From the age of 22 through about 24 and a half, I had a really rough few years. I think it's common, certainly based on the number of Project for Awesome problems about this. I think it's fairly common, but it also probably speaks to our demographics. Anyway, during these years, both when I had a job and when I didn't, whenever I was walking around the city by myself, which was a lot of the time because I spent a lot of my time by myself, And whenever I was walking around the city, I would always say some version of "I am 22 years old," and I would like almost like whisper it to myself, like mantra, like even when I wasn't 22 years old anymore. I would still say like, "I am 22 years old. I am 22 years old. I am 22 years old." And then for a while I was working on the book that eventually morphed into The Fault in Our Stars, I would the first line of it forever was, "The chaplain is." Please don't call it penalty. Okay, thank you. The first line of it forever was, "The chaplain is 22 years old." And of course, in that story, which was about a children's hospital and the kids in a children's hospital, but mostly was about me, in the way of the stories that one writes when one is 22. In that story, the chaplain was me. So it was still a version of like, "I am 22 years old. I am 22 years old." And I think I've thought a lot about like, why was I so fixated? By the way, I'm going to read Aaron's problem. Hold on. Aaron's problem is, how does one continue to socialize and stay engaged with the outside world in the awkward gap between college and working full time? I'm a recent college grad looking for a job as an editorial assistant working with children's books, and most of my friends from college have moved away from the city. I found job hunting to be quite lonely and boring most days, especially as I'm doing freelance work from home until I get a steady income. I'm not sure how to approach meeting people and making new friends without the structure of a university or a workplace. So I was in this boat for a while. And it's really hard, and it can become like a like a vicious cycle. Like it being bad can make itself worse. It's one of those things, at least in my experience. But anyway, I've thought a lot in the last 15 years about why I used to repeat this this sentence over and over again that was like incredibly uninteresting and unsophisticated as sentences go. There's nothing less interesting as the first line of a novel than "I am 22 years old," except maybe insofar as it like establishes something that is, if not universal, like fairly common among a certain subset of people, right? Like there's a certain percentage of the population that either remembers being 22 or like knows about like all the complexities that are contained within that, because there's still so much that you can do. There's still so many ways that your life might go. Are you pulling that back because it's a red card? Because otherwise, it's halftime. It's a really, really thrilling 0-0 draw here for the Wimbly Womblys. It couldn't be any hotter as 0-0 draws go. I'm going to do the thing that I've been doing recently where I change the formation at halftime. I like to go into the locker room and make all of the players extremely confused about what formation we are playing and what are our responsibilities to each other. That's my goal as a football manager. I want everybody to be like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. So we're going to bring on Dean Parrott. We're going to start him in right midfield, take off Oreo Baskets, who, despite scoring a goal in the last game, has not had a good game today. And we're going to just try to hit the reset button with a little 4-4-2 flat. This is the formation I know the best. It's the one I've worked with the most, and we'll see how it works. So I think it was both that I felt like an adult and didn't feel like an adult. It was both that I felt like there were a lot of things that might happen in my life that hadn't happened. And there was a feeling of possibility, but then there was also a feeling of like shrinking opportunity, that like every day I didn't get a job, or I didn't make a friend, or I didn't find a romantic partner was like a day closer to like the day where I was going to have to say like, "This is forever. Your misery will never reach an end point. Why did you not score in that situation?" That was an easy goal and a really good cross. So far, this formation change has worked really well for us. I don't want to brag yet, but despite that really bad pass, it does seem to be working. There you go. That's a nice ball. Oh, get there, John Green. Get there. Oh, it's off the post and it's in. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, yes. That is your go-to celebration, and it's hideous, and I love it, and wow. 1-0 to the good guys, and once again, the formation change works absolute magic. Look at John Green finding a way, and then, the keeper thought he'd saved it, but he was mistaken. Going near post on him. John Green hurting the keeper's feelings. Oh, it's devastating. As it says on the back of the central defender who John Green just ran past, burn. Maybe we'll get him too. I don't know. It depends on how much money we get for moving on the FA Cup if we win this game. We still got some work to do. So I think like part of it correct me if I'm wrong here, Aaron, but I feel like part of part of what's so difficult about not having those relationships, not having that, the professional life that you want to have, is the like feeling. It's not just that the moment is so difficult. It's the feeling of, what if this is forever? At least for me. Like, there's a line in Infinite Jest about pain, and I'm not sure that I believe it, but it's an oft quoted line because it says something about the way we feel about psychic pain, which is that I think the line is that no single moment in and of itself is unendurable. Ooh, great save. I mean, let's not delude ourselves. No way Raffo makes that save. Really, really great save. You can see McDonald devastated to come off. It's always hard for a ginger to be substituted. But after a really wonderful save from George Long, maybe the save of the season so far, we've got some defending to do, but there's George Long looking big and strong. Pass the ball. Not that obviously is not what I wanted to do. I wanted you to throw. God, is it that I hit the wrong buttons, or is it that FIFA doesn't acknowledge which are the right buttons to push? Okay, now to John Green. That's good. Hold up play. John Green, you're better than that. You're big and strong and tough. You're the best player in League One, other than your husband. There you go. That's good. Now, just run with the ball for a minute. And then pass it to Lyle. Pass. I think it's still our throw-in. So the thing that I would encourage you to do, and the only solution I have to your problem, is to not catastrophize, to not imagine that the situation as it is will be the situation forever. There is a reason that people, including me and lots of other people, look back on that time of life as having been incredibly difficult. And it's because it is incredibly difficult. And so you're not like, there's nothing failed about you're feeling this way. There's nothing wrong with you because you feel this way. There's no secret group of people at that time of life who are having an awesome time. Even if, I understand, like, you can look, as I often did when I was that age, at the people who have professional lives that seem like they're the professional life that you want to have, and feel really like intensely that these people have it figured out, or these people have what I want and I can't get it. And I mean, some of that may be true, but I think it's also true. Turn, pass, shoot, wrong pass, picked out the wrong guy. And that's disappointing. I expect better from Dean Parrott. When you bring him on at halftime, you want him to be a star. After really winning the first half of the first half, I think it's pretty clear that we are losing the second half. I mean, whatever. Point being, we were playing really well, and now we're playing crap. How's that? Does that work? So all I can do is encourage you to try to seek out relationship. Oh, get there. It's got to be, and it is. It's a phenomenal finish. It's a finish for the ages. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, wow. I don't even know who it was, Meredith, but I picked him out at the back post. I don't want to brag, but that was the rare goal that I saw coming. Usually, I am as surprised as anyone. But, when I play chess, I'm always thinking 0 moves ahead. Yeah, I think it was Trotz. Look at him trotting to the back post. And then he was just wide open. Oh, and it's a great finish. It's a great, it's almost historic. Wimbledon are going to go to the fourth round of the FA Cup, which means, most thrillingly, that Wimbledon, it was Bartram. I still don't have who scored the goal. Point being, we're going to the fourth round of the FA Cup, which means we're going to try to buy one of Wigan's players. All I can do is to encourage you to keep going and trust that things will get better. And I really hope they do. And I would like to congratulate the manager of Wigan on losing in the FA Cup. Best wishes.